He sighed, running his hands through his hair, frustration clouding his face. Ada, please. You don't understand. I didn't want it to end like this. I didn't want you to remember. Remember what? I demanded, my voice rising. What did you hide from me? Why are you lying? I'm not lying, he said quickly, stepping toward me. You need to trust me. The truth will only hurt you more. I shook my head. No. I've had enough of your lies. The truth is the only thing that can set me free. I moved past him, heading for the door, but Emeka reached out and grabbed my wrist. His grip was tight, and his fingers dug into my skin. Ada, stop. You can't go out there. You're not ready. I don't care. I screamed, pulling away from him. Let go of me. He hesitated, but then he released me. I could see the struggle in his eyes, the battle between guilt and fear, but it didn't matter. I couldn't stay here anymore. Not with him. I grabbed my bag from the table and rushed out the door. The cold morning air hit my face, and for a moment, I felt like I could breathe again. But as I stepped into the street, a car pulled up beside me. The door opened, and a man I didn't recognize stepped out. He was tall, with a sharp, serious look in his eyes. He didn't say a word. Instead, he handed me an envelope, his hand cold and stiff. This is for you, he said flatly. Everything you need to know is inside. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. The man turned and got back into the car without another word, disappearing into the morning fog. I stood there, holding the envelope, my hands shaking. This was it. This was the moment that would change everything. The answers I had been searching for were right here, just a piece of paper away. But as I stared at the envelope, I couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't just the truth I was about to uncover. It was something far more dangerous. I ripped the envelope open, my heart racing. Inside was a single sheet of paper with a few lines written in bold, hurried handwriting. Ada, you don't remember because we erased your memory. You need to come back to the place where it all began. The answers are there. But don't trust Emeka. He's not who you think he is. I felt the ground shift beneath me again. I stumbled backward, my mind reeling. Memory erased? Erased? How could that be possible? And Emeka, was he involved? Was he hiding something far worse than I could have ever imagined? I turned around, half expecting Emeka to be standing behind me, but the street was empty. No one was there. The silence was deafening. I had no choice now. I had to go back. To the place where everything had started. But where was that? And what would I find when I got there? The envelope fell from my hands to the ground, but I didn't pick it up. My mind was already 1,000 miles away, racing toward a past I couldn't remember but was now terrified to face. I stood frozen for a moment, the envelope lying discarded on the ground at my feet. My mind was a whirlwind of confusion and fear. I couldn't process everything I had just read. Memory erased? Emeka's betrayal? What was happening to me? I shook my head, trying to clear the fog, but it only thickened. I needed answers, and the only place I could think to go was the place mentioned in the note. It was as if everything around me was leading me there, even if I didn't understand why. Without thinking, I turned and began walking briskly down the street. My steps were hurried, my breath shallow, as if my body already knew that time was running out. The streets of Enugu were still quiet, the city slowly waking up to the day. The air felt heavy, thick with something I couldn't quite name. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up, but when I looked around, no one was there. Just the usual early morning joggers and vendors setting up their stalls. I didn't know where I was headed, but my feet carried me forward, guided by a force I couldn't explain. It was as if my body was moving on its own, leading me toward the truth, or maybe toward something much worse. Minutes felt like hours as I walked, the city around me blurring into the background. My mind raced, each thought a fragmented puzzle piece that I couldn't quite put together. Who had erased my memory? Why? What was Emeka hiding? And what had happened to my sister? I stopped in front of a familiar building. It was an old, abandoned warehouse, its windows boarded up and its door hanging off its hinges. The place seemed so out of place, so forgotten. But I had been here before. I remembered this building. I didn't know why, but I knew it was important. I walked toward the door, my heart thudding in my chest. Every instinct told me to turn around and run, but I couldn't. I had to know. I had to face whatever was inside. I pushed the door open slowly, the hinges creaking in protest. The air inside was stale, thick with dust and decay. It felt like time had stopped here, like the world outside had forgotten this place existed. I stepped inside, my footsteps echoing in the silence. The space was vast, empty except for a few broken crates and discarded items. My breath quickened as I took in the surroundings. There was something off about this place, something that made my skin crawl. Then, I saw it. In the far corner of the warehouse, a table was set up with an old-fashioned lamp flickering weakly. On the table lay a large, leather-bound book. It looked out of place, like it didn't belong here. My hands trembled as I moved toward it, drawn to it as if it were calling me. I reached for the book, my fingers brushing against its surface. The moment I touched it, a jolt of electricity shot through me, and a vision exploded in my mind. I saw flashes of memories, fragments of things I couldn't fully understand. A woman's face, smiling at me. A fight. Blood. A dark figure standing in the shadows. And then, I saw Emeka. His face twisted in anger, shouting at someone, at me. I stumbled back, my breath coming in ragged gasps. The vision was too much. My head was spinning. What was happening to me? The book slipped from my hands, falling to the floor with a dull thud. I stood there, paralyzed, unsure of what to do next. My mind was racing, trying to piece together what I had just seen, but it was like trying to hold water in my hands, it kept slipping away. And then, I heard a voice behind me. A low, raspy whisper that sent chills down my spine. You shouldn't have come here, Ada. I spun around, my heart racing in my chest. There, standing in the shadows, was a figure. It was a woman, but her face was obscured by a hood. I couldn't see her clearly, but something about her felt familiar. You, I gasped, my voice shaky. Who are you? The woman stepped closer, her footsteps slow and deliberate. You're closer than you think, Ada. The truth is within reach. But beware, because sometimes the truth is a curse. I took a step back, fear coursing through my veins. What are you talking about? What truth? She lifted her hood, revealing a face I knew all too well. It was my sister. My heart stopped. What? What is this? How are you here? The woman, my sister, smiled sadly, but there was no warmth in her eyes. Only a coldness that sent a shiver down my spine. I never wanted this for you, Ada. But it's too late now. You've opened the door, and there's no going back. I was frozen, unable to move. The room felt smaller now, like it was closing in on me. My mind screamed for answers, but nothing made sense. Was she really here? Was this some kind of illusion? You need to make a choice, Ada, my sister said, her voice low. The truth you seek will change everything. It will destroy Emeka. It will destroy you. But you can't run from it anymore. I swallowed hard, my throat dry. What do you mean? What happened? What did Emeka do? She looked at me with pity, but it wasn't enough to ease the fear swelling inside me. You'll know soon enough. Just know this, the truth is a weapon. And when it's in your hands, it'll tear everything apart. I opened my mouth to say something, but no words came. The room grew darker, the shadows creeping closer. And in that moment, I realized something. I was not just seeking answers anymore. I was searching for something far more dangerous. The truth. And it was about to consume me. I felt the walls closing in on me, the shadows thickening around my sister's figure. My breath came in short gasps, my chest tight with fear. What do you want from me? I whispered, my voice barely a sound. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she reached into her cloak and pulled out a small, worn-out key. This is the key to your past, Ada. The door is waiting for you. But once you open it, you can never close it again. I looked at the key, feeling a sense of dread rise in my chest. My hands trembled as I reached for it, but I hesitated. Was I ready to face whatever lay beyond that door? Could I handle the truth? You have no choice, she said softly, her voice almost sorrowful. The past is already here. You've already opened the door, Ada. You just haven't realized it yet. My heart pounded in my ears. I turned and walked toward the back of the warehouse, my legs feeling like they were made of lead. There, against the far wall, was a door I had never noticed before. It was old, weathered, and covered in cobwebs, but something about it felt familiar. The key in my hand burned with anticipation. I stepped up to the door, the key heavy in my hand. It seemed to pulse with power, and as I inserted it into the lock, a strange hum vibrated through the air. The door creaked open slowly, revealing a dark room inside. I couldn't see anything. The air was thick with dust and old memories. I took a deep breath and stepped inside, the door closing quietly behind me. Suddenly, the room lit up. My surroundings came into focus, and I saw photographs of me, of Emeka, of my sister, of all the people I had ever loved. But they weren't just pictures, they were moments frozen in time, captured in vivid detail. I moved closer to one of the photos. It was a picture of Emeka and me, standing in front of a beautiful house, smiling like we had everything we wanted. But the background, it didn't feel right. The house was different from anything I had seen before. It was a mansion, but there was something wrong with it, something dark. I turned around, and in the center of the room, I saw a large mirror. Its surface was cracked, but the reflection staring back at me wasn't mine. It was Emeka's face, distorted in anger, his eyes burning with an intensity one had never seen before. I stumbled back in shock. What is this? What is happening? The voice of my sister echoed in the room, as if she were right beside me. This is the truth, Ada. This is everything you've been running from. Emeka is not who you think he is. He's been hiding the truth from you all along. I collapsed to my knees, the weight of it all crashing down on me. My heart was breaking, not just for what Emeka had done, but for everything I had lost in the process. My sister, the life we had once shared, the future I thought I had with Emeka, it was all a lie. Tears streamed down my face as I reached out toward the mirror, my hand trembling. I wanted to erase it all, to take back the moments of my life that had been stolen from me, but I knew it was too late. The truth was here, and I could never unsee it. As the mirror shattered into 1,000 pieces, I heard the sound of footsteps behind me. I didn't have to turn around to know who it was. Emeka. I closed my eyes, bracing myself for whatever came next. But nothing happened. The room was silent, and when I finally opened my eyes, Emeka was gone. The photographs, the mirror, the truth, it was all gone. All that was left was darkness. A silence so thick, it felt like it was swallowing me whole. In that moment, I realized something. The truth was no longer important. The past didn't matter. What mattered now was what I chose to do next. I stood up slowly, wiping the tears from my face. The door was open once again, and beyond it lay the world outside. My life, my future, was waiting for me. It might be broken, but it was mine to rebuild. And as I stepped back into the world, I knew one thing for sure. The past could never define me. I would move forward, even if the truth had torn me apart. Because sometimes, the only way to heal is to let go of everything that tried to destroy you. And that's exactly what I did.